action from the USA, and as you can see, our good man Tony Garcia is doing the business, getting as low as possible and as close as possible. He's got more guts than me with these youngsters, but he is enjoying his day, as we will. Welcome. We are in the cornfields of Ohio. You can see them in the background as they harvest their first effort of the year. And it's a Honda parade because Honda, of course, power all these cars, Honda Civic engines, and this is the Formula Regional Championship. We are heading for their third encounter, having raced at NOLA and at Road America, and I'm delighted to be joined by a Canadian, a young Canadian called Alex Berg, who is currently racing in F4 Americas, and therefore has a good idea of some of the guys involved in this championship, and certainly will know Mid-Ohio, having been out there already this weekend, getting ready for qualifying and the races he's involved. Each of F4 and FR have 3 races per weekend at this Mid-Ohio course, which of course is famous as a Honda course and also as an IndyCar racetrack. I've been here many a times and watched Scott Dixon hoon around here. Alex, first and foremost, what do you think of Mid-Ohio? You've been to a couple of courses already. What are your thoughts?
Well, there's definitely no track just like Mid-Ohio. Obviously, you're always going to be turning. And I'd like to refer to it a little bit as the Monaco of the western part of the world.
That's a stretch, but I like it.
there's not a lot of walls all that close, but it's you're always turning, and that's probably the hardest part. Apart from passing, obviously. There's not a lot of passing places, maybe in turn 1, as well as the keyhole. But, yeah, no, not a lot of passing, so qualifying is extremely important.
Yep, so as we get ready for this one, an interesting observation. Tell us a little bit about yourself as these guys get ready. You're from Canada, but tell us where from and how you got into racing.
Well, I'm from Calgary, Alberta, Canada, a little bit north of Montana. But now I live in Atlanta. My father was a racing driver. He drove professionally in Formula One for a few Grand Prix in the 1986 season, had a long career in Formula race cars. And, well, like father, like son, I always grew up around race cars. He is the owner of a racing school, Allenberg Racing Schools, based at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca in Monterey, Salinas, California.
Oh, well, you've got an advantage then.
A little bit, yeah. I don't drive as much as you might think I do, but yeah, I'm the test driver for the school.
Has that been useful? I always wonder when you hear the father-son combinations of a Lawrence Stroll and a Lance Stroll, or even a Hill, Damon Hill and his son Josh. Is it a help to be associated with a racing driver?
Oh, definitely. I'm not quite like the Stroll family. I find all my own funding for my racing. But definitely having a father who raced Formula One helps extremely. And I wouldn't say that the biggest advantage is the coaching or the driving tips that I might get from him. The biggest advantage is definitely learning from the mistakes that he made in his career, so I don't have to make them in mine. It's almost like I have 45 years of kart racing experience in my head already, being at 15 years of age.
Well, let's just explain that the race itself will be dominated, or at least in qualifying it's been dominated by Raoul Hyman, who's had 3 pole positions currently, and pole position yet again here at Mid-Ohio. And he lines up on the left-hand side of your screen. The young Brit, who I've known quite a few years, did a bit of FIA F3, but is dominating here at the moment and leads the championship going into this round this weekend. One of 3 races here as the lights come on and we get ready to go racing here at Mid-Ohio. Away they go then. And a good start by the pole man, but an even better start from the number 27. And into the lead goes Raoul Hyman. Hyman then taking it to the keyhole for the first time, just ahead of the 77. And that, of course, ooh, somebody going wide, very wide indeed. That's the 96 by the looks of things at the keyhole. An easy place to make a mistake, but he's gathered it all together and doesn't lose too many places. Have you made a mistake there before?
I've actually never put a wheel off in a Formula car here. It's my first weekend racing, and
now you've done it.
I'm pretty proud of that. Unfortunately, that was my teammate Athreya Ramanan, and yeah, it's his first weekend in FR Americas, and I'd like to say he's doing pretty well. He's had a couple days in the car of experience, but yeah, I have a couple teammates out there as well as Alex Kirby and Marco Kacic. I also have a friend Nick Persing, who's running in the top 5, I believe, right now.
All right, so a good clean start then. Just one car going off, but gathering it all together, as you mentioned. And down the back part of the circuit, we can see from high above on the drone just exactly the kind of room they've got. And these guys, these Formula cars, perfectly suited for this Mid-Ohio circuit. And we've mentioned it already, as they come through the carousel for the first time, this is where IndyCar cut their teeth every year. And so it's a great course for everybody to get used to the track here as we look at the Future Stars Racing number 25 coming across the line. That's Mackenzie Clark, another Canadian. We've had a lot of Canadians in FR and F4 in the last couple of years. Couple of lockups there, and the number 29 getting out of shape and in trouble. That was Nick Persing. Had a quick chat with him in his second year now of being in Formula Racing here in the United States. Of course, did F4 and now in FR and enjoying the opportunity to race here. Just getting my timing monitors up as well as we get ready for what should be a good half-hour race. 3 races in all. And the key, Alex, also I've noticed in this kind of racing is that you've got to make sure that you try to get through all 3 races, because one DNF can really change your weekend.
Yeah, I felt that at NOLA. In race number 2, I had an unfortunate DNF on lap number 2, which had me start from the very back, P23, in race number 3, and I was actually fortunate enough to be able to drive from there to a podium position, and it was my first podium in the series, in the first weekend in the series. So, yeah, it's always tough, but it's fun. It's always fun driving out through the field.
Yep, Scott Goodyear, who of course is the race director here, will tell you consistency is the key at this level of racing. And Raoul Hyman, who leads this race, and another car goes off.
Oh, that looks like Matt Clark.
It does look like Matt Clark, the young Canadian, getting wide, but amazingly going onto the grass. The Future Star Racing car just going wide there, but losing out, but not losing a place, incidentally. But it's Raoul Hyman from Jason Alder, Dylan Tavella in 3rd place, the New Yorker, then Nick Persing, who went wide at the keyhole earlier. Then Mackenzie Clark, who we just mentioned there, who just went off. He's still, though, in 15th place, ahead of Ryan Yardley of New Zealand, and then Marco Kacic just behind him, and there you see it yourself. Kirby in 8th position, Bowlsbey 9th, Becklin in 10th, Ramanan in 11th place, and he's another one that just had a slight excursion. He's 5 seconds off the pace at the moment, but it's Hyman who leads, and he's got less than a second of a lead at the moment, but doing a really good job over Jason Alder. Jason Alder, another man I've been watching over the last couple of years and has progressed nicely from F4 to F3. Spoke to him and his father yesterday, and looking for another good result weekend. And
that looks like Cooper Becklin.
Cooper Becklin going too close to the back there of Clark and just running out of room, basically. And so going off track, but he's back out on as they go through the carousel. Hyman building on that lead at the moment. So, Alex, what are the corners where you would look to overtake? I'm guessing turn 4 is an obvious place coming into that now.
Yeah, I'd definitely say turn 4 is probably your best chances at passing someone on the inside. Turn 1, a couple of people have mentioned that, but you'd really need a really good run out of turn 13 to get that. The keyhole's another great place.
Yep.
Just dive up the inside, as well as turn 12. That's a corner where you kind of diamond it a little bit. The widest part is in the actual center of the corner, and it's very easy. I did it in practice a couple times to just take the space that they're leaving, just kind of slip up the inside, and they won't be expecting you there, and it'll kind of ruin someone else's run through 13. And so you'll have a little bit of a gap to the car behind that you just passed. Now,
the difference between the car you're driving, F4, and this car we're looking at is just basically a bigger chassis, but also a little bit more power. You're all using Honda Civic engines, but these are turbo engines, so you're going to get more brake horsepower. Is this where you want to be eventually?
Yeah, I think so. I think next year would be a really good step up from the F4 US Championship to the FR America Series. I've actually driven in a commercial shoot a couple weeks back at Road America for a company called Entrust. I've driven a Formula Regional car. It was pretty fun. I didn't go all that fast as it was just commercial filming, but I'm pretty happy to be in the car. The turbo felt really cool.
We're looking at Raoul Hyman, who has dominated certainly in qualifying and pretty much in the race weekends, but he leads the championship at the moment. I talked to him yesterday. I knew him a few years back when he raced in New Zealand, and he was coming through the ranks there. Didn't show that well, but of course the Toyota Racing Series, a very, very tough series as well. Raoul did that. He then went on to do the FIA F3 with the Sauber Junior team. And he's 26 years of age now, so he's getting on a bit, but he has seen the opportunity. And let's just remind everybody that the prize for winning this championship, which Hyman leads at the moment, is a chance to become a Japanese Formula driver in the championship over there, in the Super Formula Championship. And that is a huge prize that Honda offer out to the winner of this series. And certainly Raoul Hyman's got his druthers set on that, and so far so good. And he's already pulled away from Alder, who's also one of the competitors for this championship, as is Tavella. So we've got all the guys at the sharp end. Yardley now up to 5th place ahead of Clark, and a good clean start. And alongside me, Alex Berg, anything you see that surprised you so far? We kind of expected Hyman to be out front, didn't we?
Yeah, I definitely did. I was expecting, after seeing Road America and NOLA, that he'd pull a little bit more of a gap, but Jason Alder seems to be on his tail, at least closer than past races. So I'd like to see how this race plays out. We saw Hyman make a mistake in, I believe it was race 2 at Road America. He spun out. I still believe he salvaged his second from that, but I don't know, maybe Alder can put a little pressure on him and force him into a little mistake there. This is an easy track to make a mistake on.
Yeah, I mean,
it's Matt Clark in pit lane.
Matt Clark is coming in, and I think he's, you can see he's just getting the grass out of this. This has been a problem both in Trans Am and in single-seaters here at Mid-Ohio, is that the grass here in a corn place where they're growing big crops all year round. The grass is green and the rain is always popular. Therefore, you get good green grass. But if you go onto the grass here at Mid-Ohio, you're going to fill your radiators with it. And, of course, they will overheat very quickly. I've seen it in Trans Am. I've seen it in Super Formula. And I've seen it in Formula Racing. And I've also seen it at IndyCar. So you've got to get that grass out. Otherwise, the engine will go pop and overheat. And so you don't want that.
Something that I have noticed about Ohio is all the spectators out there, when you're driving out back to your hotel or wherever you're staying, take a look at all the residential areas. The grass is cut perfectly. And like yesterday driving to the hotel from the track, I saw 4 people mowing their lawn. So, grass is, I guess, a very key, important part of the Ohio culture here.
And no fencing. Everybody seems to have an open lawn, but they know exactly where the limit to their land is. And it's a beautiful part of the world. Now we've got a real battle going on. Tavella all over the back of Jason Alder as they head down to the back of the straight now. And where would you, if you were in Tavella in the number 14's car, where would you try to make a move here on Jason Alder?
I think turn 4 is the biggest passing place. It's the hardest braking zone on the track.
Not close enough, though.
Yeah, not this lap. Maybe as well as turn 2, but that's a little bit of a harder one because it's a little bit of a diamond there as well, and not as wide of a corner as maybe turn 12 is. But yeah, I mean, really anywhere the opportunity is. As I said earlier, this is a really easy track to make a mistake on. That's also an opportunity to pass when the car ahead of you makes a mistake. But yeah, I mean, really anywhere, around the outside or up the inside. Unfortunately, you can't go over a car, but yeah.
And the other opportunity, of course, like you said earlier, is to try to force the man ahead of you into a mistake rather than an overtake necessarily. As they come down towards the last complex, the Optima Batteries Carousel, as we're calling it this weekend. The Carousel right by our commentary position, and as they come by, we get a good eye view as they hide down under the bridge to turn 1. But this is a good battle hotting up now. In fact, Persing also, Nick Persing coming into view now and looking as they head down towards the keyhole again for a chance at the Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers keyhole to get in there. There he is, just behind in the number 29. So we've got a good battle here. And at the front, Raoul Hyman not making any inroads into the leaders either, because Hyman's gap of 1 second ahead of Alder, who you're looking at now in the 77, just not actually increasing much. So Alder doing a good job of both defending and getting aggressive and staying with Hyman. So a good race, 19 minutes to go in our first feature race of 3. Alex will be in action. How did your qualifying go in F4?
Well, I had a pretty good qualifying. The F4 US Championship is very tight, very competitive. I qualified P9, but we're within a couple of tenths of the pole sitter, and it definitely makes for a good race. Mid-Ohio is not the easiest track to pass on. but hopefully I can get a good start and get up into the top 5 before the end of the first lap.
All right, you're listening to Alex Berg, who is a young Canadian, just 15 years of age. He'll be racing in Formula 4 in our live stream later today. Now you can see the gap between both the leader, that's Raoul Hyman, going through the carousel, and then second, third, and fourth almost glued together as Nick Persing joins this battle. Persing in the number 29, coming down the main straight past our commentary position, and Dylan Tavella looking for a way past the second place man, Jason Alder. These two have got a good history of racing against each other. They've both got a lot of experience. And here comes, he jinks out for a moment there. And was that really an attempt, or was it really just to sort of see if he would see if he could force him into a mistake at the keyhole?
No, he was definitely trying to force him into a mistake there. I think a better corner to do that probably would have been turn 4, since turn 2 is a very short, quick braking zone, I guess you'd say. But yeah, no, maybe I highly doubt that was for a little bit more cool air. But yeah, trying to force him into a mistake there, as we were saying.
Persing got a little out of shape there, coming on the exit of 4 as they go down through and up through the next section, which is the 4, 5, 6, and then through the S's. There used to be a bridge over there, but they've moved it now, and so it's a little confusing if you've raced here before, and then you head down towards Thunder Hill at turn 9 and down towards the Optima Batteries carousel. Beautiful shots from high above from our drone. Gives you a real opportunity to see the gaps. And you can see it's what? A car length maybe between second and third. And then maybe, well, less than that now as Nick Persing gets good braking under there on the number 29. And the three of them are glued together. Raoul Hyman's up the road and doing a really good job. And he's extended his lead now to over 2.5 seconds. And so Raoul Hyman, a slight mistake there by Jason Alder. He put a wheel onto the grass there. I've seen many an IndyCar go off there. And a slight mistake, maybe an opportunity now for Dylan Tavella. He's got the grip now. Can he get a slipstream down into turn 4? Alex, what are your thoughts?
Possibly. I mean, in these cars, I believe they have around 300 horsepower, which is a good amount for how much they weigh. They get down that straight pretty zippy, and yeah, sometimes it's not the easiest to pass. You need to get a really good exit, and as well, you have the draft too. But since the straight's a little bit kinked, it's kind of easy to just defend the inside line and try to make the guy pass you around the outside, whoever's behind you. But that's also a little bit tough, as turn 4 has a lot of banking and it lays down a lot of rubber. You get a lot of grip through that corner. So when you're not on the proper driving line, it's very dusty. And I wouldn't say the outside of turn 4 is a very good chance to pass. You might end up in that China Beach over there.
Yeah, no kidding. Now, the thing for Dylan Tavella to worry about is he needs to make this move fairly quickly because he's now got Nick Persing. And you'll watch at the end of this lap, look how close Nick Persing comes through the carousel. He gets right tucked up behind. And then he loses ground, maybe in a straight line. He's not quite as quick as the two in front of him. But here on the main straight, you can see the 29 is really closing in on the 14 as they dive through turn 1 and down towards the Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers keyhole one more time.
Yeah, Dylan Tavella is in a TJ Speed sandwich, if I'm not mistaken.
Pretty much, yeah. That's another thing. We've obviously got the Teams Championship we're looking at as well. We've got Crosslink Kiwi. Slight mistake by Persing there. Did he get on the grass for a moment?
I thought that might have been Tavella, but it looks like it was Persing, the gaps.
Yeah, it looks as though Persing's lost a little bit of ground there.
They've spread out a little bit there.
Yeah, they're starting to push on now with 15 minutes to go. And as you mentioned, the team championship, TJ Speed Motorsports, leading the way at the moment with 227 points to Kiwi Crosslink Motorsport, who've probably been the most effective team over the last few years in both FR and F4 over the years. And then Future Star Racing, we saw Matt Clark getting into trouble earlier there. And, of course, VRD, Velocity Racing Development, also one of the key teams here. They're on 62 points and currently 4th in the championship. Great battle this as we look high above already. Raoul Hyman starting to catch some of the slower cars here in this race.
He might get some issue passing traffic. I mean, as I mentioned many times before, Mid-Ohio is a tough track to pass on, so I'm sure that 24 car will have no problem letting him by, but we'll see. Maybe some drama could come into this race. Yeah,
going to say, he'll want to pass him on this back straight coming up after the keyhole here. Yeah, I think the key is now he's getting into traffic that he'll want to dispense with it as quickly as possible. Kevin Janzen is the man from Deerfield Beach, Florida, in the U.S. Power Group car ahead of him as we watch the number 14 of Dylan Tavella powering his way in third position. And it's been pretty much the same throughout this race now. The gap that Raoul Hyman's managed to create is up to 4 seconds now. So he is in a world of his own and up the road. But the real battle is definitely between these three for second, third, and fourth place. Ryan Yardley still in fifth, but distant. And so we're concentrating quite rightly. They're coming up on the slower car at the moment on Kevin Janzen. And easily enough down through Thunderhill. Easily dispensed with. In fact, he slowed right down. I don't know whether that was because he's got a problem or he realised because he's looking at the marshals that the flags were out there. I think he's okay. Into the carousel then they come. Persing again. He's definitely stronger in the second half through Thunderhill and into that carousel, and then seems to lose out a little bit in the first part of the course here does Persing, but he's still there. And as you can see, 0.7 off that gap to Tavella and Persing.
It definitely looks like he struggles a little bit through turn 2, the carousel, which is definitely not an easy corner to tame. It's very off-camber and leads onto the longest straightaway on the track.
And here we go, down that long straight. Yeah, I've walked down that track, or at least been down in the woods down there before. And yeah, it's a long, old straight this, and leading into a very obvious place to overtake. So then, the clock ticking down, 12:51 to go, and Persing sliding that car now. How does the car change as the fuel load goes down and, you know, you start to feel the tyres going off a little bit? Is it harder, or does it come into its own?
Looks like we have a full course caution, the yellow.
Full course caution, we don't.
Oh, that's a car spun, is it?
Spun at Thunderhill.
Oh, is that?
That could be the 24, actually.
I'm not sure. We'll see in just a moment here. It looks like a pretty dangerous spot. Hope that driver can get it going again.
Well, that changes the face of this race, and certainly for Raoul Hyman, who'd built up a 4.5 second lead. He'll be kicking himself. Nothing he can do about it, of course, but it's the worst possible scenario for him. But it really does help us look at this battle now for second, third, and fourth and see if it'll change dramatically, because now under full course caution, we should bring out the safety car. And we've got an incident at Thunderhill at the top of turn 9. There is the Honda Civic out there.
You mentioned to me, you were asking me how the car changes and feels throughout the race, and this is a great opportunity to bring up. If I was in this race, personally, if I was the second, third, and fourth car, I would definitely slow up a little bit. I'd give my chance the tires to cool off.
Yeah.
Talking about the fuel load, I don't really notice that since they're fairly short races.
Yeah.
And the fuel load doesn't change all that much. But it's always a great opportunity to cool off your tires and also to get a jump on the start. If I was Jason Alder in the second place car, I mean, we all know Raoul Hyman is a very, very quick driver. At least my strategy, if I knew my pace and the pace of the car in front of me, is almost just try to stay ahead of him every lap. As soon as you get passed by him, try to just pass him back and just keep passing him until you keep him behind you until the checkered flag lap. Just to prevent that 4.5 second gap for pulling up.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, I mean, when I look at the best lap times, there's only a couple of tenths between Alder and Hyman in that respect. But those 3 tenths add up, and he's managed to take it, in this battle to over 4 seconds. And so, yeah, he's done all the hard work, but now it's come to naught because they all crunch up, as you can see them.
I believe that's 11 cars in the field, so yeah. The stuck car is still there.
We're going to be looking at that incident in a moment as they come through the S's. And there's Matt Clark back out on track. And he's in 10th position at the moment. And it could be Ramanan. I'm trying to work out who it might be. Kevin Janzen, potentially, in the 24.
Yeah, it looks like it might be Kevin Janzen. His last lap time was 1:35, and his best time's a 26.380.
So we're under safety here in the first feature race of the Formula Regional USA. And there's Janzen, so no problems here for the 24. So it's another car that's off at the moment, and we'll find out in a moment which one that is just before Thunderhill, which is why we're at a snail's pace, so to speak. But back through the carousel they come, under caution now. And you see them weaving from side to side. You talk about the tyres cooling down. They will inevitably. And so to keep mechanical grip, these cars work best when the tyres are warm. And so therefore you'll see them weaving side to side, just literally to keep the temperature in the tyres, and also pushing the brakes. Do you use the brakes to also make sure that they work as well?
Oh, I think definitely heating up the brakes is important, as well as speeding up and slowing down to increase tire heat from the inside of the car, from the inside of the rim to the outside of the tire. That's definitely something really big, as well as weaving. I'd say weaving makes a big difference, but you also need to have your brakes all warmed up so you can go into turn one and just be cautious and make sure to avoid an impact if necessary. But yeah, it looks like that car is the number 96. Sorry, the number 96 of Athreya Ramanan, my teammate for Durand Kroll competition.
And you were saying this is his first weekend of racing.
Yeah, this is his first weekend of racing in the FR America Series. He did the F4 U.S. Championship on the West Coast last year for my team Durand Kroll competition, and has, I believe, 3 or 4 test days in the Formula Regional car. So it's a very tough car to drive, and unfortunately he's stuck at turn 9 right there.
Yep, Ligier chassis, Honda engine, as we've mentioned, and this is basically the car, or a very similar car to how Formula 3 around the world is issued. And of course Formula 3, and your dad did Formula 3 back in the day, this was always been the sort of the international standard. If you could succeed in FR, F3, then you will be noticed, and they've got a chance to either progress potentially to FIA, F2, or even F1. That's the path. And if not, maybe to IndyCar and so on. No,
definitely. F3 has always been a big impact in motor racing, especially for all those drivers going to Formula 1. A lot of drivers have gone through Formula 3 and skipped Formula 2 or GP2, whatever it was called, back in their respected eras. Like drivers such as my father, Alan Berg, Ayrton Senna, Martin Brundle, Johnny Dumfries. And it looks like they're going to have to play a game of chicken with the truck and my teammate, unfortunately.
Yeah, they're going to squeeze through there. The truck's ready to pick him up, but as we can see from the drone there, nice shot showing us where that stricken car is. So he's got 2 wheels on the grass, but for whatever reason he can't get the engine going, which means they're going to have to drag him. They don't want to drag him out that way through the gravel track because that's not going to help. So they need to pull him back and bring him back to this inside corner, and that will alleviate the problem. Should be another lap or so, and they'll get through that. Let's talk a little bit about your progression. How did you start racing?
Well, I started racing in 2015 up in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, at the Strathmore Motorsport Park CKRC Calgary Kart Racing Club.
Well, that's a mouthful.
Yeah. It's a long name for the track. But I raced there for a couple of years. I started doing.
Can you only do some of that? Because presumably it snowed during the winter.
Yeah, it's quite snow. It's pretty snowy there. Our racing season starts in about May, which is pretty late for the rest of the world. But yeah, I raced karts there in club level, 4-stroke, for a couple years. And in 2019 or late 2018, I moved up and did my first national go-kart race, and I started racing in the U.S. For the most part all the time. But after that, I was picked up by Mazda to participate in a scholarship shootout program they had, which I eventually won, as well as my former teammate, Bryson Morris, who now drives for Kiwi Crosslink. We were racing the Mazda Spec MX-5 Challenge Series last year for the Mazda factory team, Heg Performance. We both did very well. I believe we finished second and third, both multiple wins in the championship. But that got me my start in cars, and I've known Francois Durand, the team owner of Durand Kroll Competition, ever since February of 2020. And actually, I did not know that I was going to be racing Formula 4 this year until late December. This whole deal came together in about 2 weeks. Very, very long story, very complicated due to connections that I've had that my dad has worked with 10 years ago. Obviously, Jerry Kroll, part of the Durand Kroll competition team, is a big part of me being here, as well as Francois Durand. But yeah, the team's been really great, and I signed the contract to do F4 in December or January, I can't remember, and no, it's been going really well. I don't have a teammate in Formula 4, so it's a little bit of a learning curve. I'm also still doing some of that Mazda Spec MX-5 Challenge Series, and the funny thing is I don't have a teammate in that series either, so it's definitely been a little bit of a tough year in terms of a learning curve, but it's definitely going to make me into a better driver. And in a way, I'm kind of happy this happened, just so I can teach myself a lot more things.
You know, I keep hearing, and we've got Tyler Casera in our Trans Am Championship who came from Miatas as well, and several others who are making their way through. And that Miata series, it doesn't matter what kind of racing, whether it be NASCAR, whether it be single-seaters, it's a great series to start off with and teach you the rudiments, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. Obviously, I have some experience in my father's Formula race cars up at Laguna Seca, WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. But I also drove a lot of Mazda Spec Miata, and that's taught me a lot about car control as well as driving in the wintertime up in the Canada icy conditions. But now it looks like these guys are getting ready to go green here in just a moment.
Alex Berg, and as you can see, the Civic has got the lights off, which means that Raoul Hyman now controls the race, and we will be racing to have a sprint race to the end. Hyman, though, has got to hold off Tavella and Alder. Alder in second place at the moment, Tavella in third, Nick Persing in fourth place, Raoul Hyman leading them to the start or restart of this one. We're going to go green, and Raoul Hyman accelerates out of the carousel.
Oh, that's a great start from him.
Great start from the Englishman, South African born. And away he goes, still warming up the tyres as he heads into turn one. Smart move by him. Tavella follows us through in third place, but in second place it's Jason Alder. But that was a great restart from Hyman.
It looks like there's a huge gap from P5 to the P6. I believe that is Hayden Bowlsbey.
Yep, Bowlsbey and Kirby, Becklin. Oh!
That would look like an aggressive pass from the California native of, was that Nick Persing?
Yeah, Nick Persing. That was very good indeed.
From Morgan Hill.
Yeah, so all going on here in the midfield. We expected it at the restart, but it's still going on as Tavella battling hard with the 78 of Yardley. Ryan Yardley, a former champion in New Zealand in tin tops and also TRS.
Breaking there. Oh, looks like he's going to hold it around the outside. Oh,
Yardley holding on the
close.
outside. Nicely done by Ryan Yardley.
Looks like that position is going to go to, I can't see.
I think Yardley's just got through, yeah.
Both very similar looking cars.
Yeah, Yardley fifth in the championship at the moment. Didn't get the best of starts, but he's been consistent throughout this competition. He's been doing some mechanicking in this series for Crosslink for the last couple of years, but now getting a chance to race. I watched him race in New Zealand, and he comes from a family of racers. And Ryan Yardley following in the footsteps.
My teammate Athreya Ramanan. Oh, he's getting lapped. Oh, they're very close to Raoul Hyman now.
Yep, so now the leader under massive pressure. And he hasn't let them by. He has done now. Raoul Hyman will not be happy with that because he got held up, balked, if you like, coming through the main straight. He puts a wheel on the grass for a moment, but not long enough to upset him. But Alder now right there, as is Persing in third.
You know, as a
Tavella's dropped down.
As a driver, this can be one of the most flustering things, having a car not let you by. It's, it messes with your brain, and I don't know. We might see Raoul Hyman make a mistake now, but looks like he's already pulled a little gap there. But looks like the battle is between Persing and Alder.
Again, yeah. So Tavella is the one that lost out at that restart big time. He's dropped back down to fifth place.
And Persing goes down the inside, sends it.
Oh, yeah. Nicely done, Nick Persing.
Oh, and the same thing behind them. They're 2 by 2.
Ah, awesome. Excellent stuff. We've got some good racecraft here with 1 minute and 22 to go. It's all happening here in the first feature race of FR. Raoul Hyman in control again, but only by 0.2 of a second. Alder, Persing, Yardley, all going for it there, the four of them, as they come through Thunder Hill.
Looks like we have close to less than a minute of the race left to go. I don't know if this will be white flag lap or the next one will be.
Could be. We'll take a look at the grandstand because they're right in front of us, and we'll see that flag coming out. Here comes Raoul Hyman to take the white flag. We got one more lap to go in FR, but who's going to be on the podium? Hyman's out front and leading. He's again ahead now of Persing. Alder third, Yardley fourth.
They're nose to tail from second to P4. Wow.
Yeah, this is great racing. And in terms of the championship, Hyman was leading coming in. Tavella second, Alder third. Mackenzie Clark, who's lost out, he went off early. He's in fourth. Ryan Yardley was in fifth. So Yardley, the man, looking to really make some hay here in the mid-Ohio sunshine. And Ryan Yardley, the youngster from New Zealand, looking to make his way. Obviously idolizes the likes of Scott Dixon, who's had so much success here in IndyCar racing. Another Kiwi. Coming down, though, to the closing stages. Ryan Yardley for Crosslink Kiwi. Motorsport. Gary and Tina, the team owners, will be delighted if he can get a good result here. But Alder in front of him, not likely to make a mistake as they head down towards the back of the circuit for the final time. Raoul Hyman, who has dominated this series and took a win last time out at Road America in the third race, as well as 2 podiums, 2 wins, in fact, at Road America, and he's about to follow that up. Took pole position as he has at every race weekend so far, comes into the carousel, and the young Englishman, 26 years of age, continues to dominate in here in FR Americas and takes the checkered flag in style. He was put under pressure, he got bulked by a back marker, but he's okay, and now he has taken it to victory. Second place goes to Nick Persing, who made some really, really bold moves. Alder takes third, and Yardley hangs on to take fourth place, but Tavella lost out, having been up to third place and second place at one point. Drops down to fifth. Bowlsbey, Clark, Becklin, Kacic, Kirby, Janzen, and Ramanan, the man at the back. But, well, Alex Berg, your thoughts on the final lap of that one? Great stuff.
Well, no, that was definitely, I think the second final lap was pretty exciting.
Yeah.
That was the most exciting part of the race for sure. That was some really good race craft from those 4 drivers there. They obviously went 2 by 2 in turns 4 and 5. 5 is a very difficult corner. I'm very surprised that some of the drivers could hold it around the outside of there to be on the inside of turn 6, another very tricky corner. But no, my palms were sweaty. I was very excited during that whole race. And if any of the spectators out there, if you want to chill a little bit, I really recommend you go down to Roly Polar Ice Cream. They make rolled ice cream, as a lot of you may have seen on TikTok. I promised them that I would mention them during the broadcast. So Rick and Ricky, if you're listening to me right now, I just want to say hi to you guys.
There you go. I can feel an ice cream coming your way.
No, I yesterday at dinner, I promised to my team that if I win, I'm going to buy all of them a cup of ice cream. So that's about $130 worth of ice cream. But I don't think I'd really mind if I win, if I can spend another 130.
You've been listening to 15-year-old Alex Berg. Tell us your car number. Give us some social. Let everybody get behind you this afternoon.
Well, my social medias all are Alex Berg Racing on Facebook, Alex8ERG on Instagram. I'm also on LinkedIn as well,
Cool.
Alexander Berg. I have a pink helmet. That's going to be the most notable thing on my car.
I noticed that yesterday.
And I am driving a Duranco competition Pen Elcom liveried Ligier JS Formula 4 car. I'm car number 08, and I'm starting P9 this afternoon. Hopefully we can pull off a win.
We'll look out for you. But Raoul Hyman holding his head under immense pressure there. He dominated this race, took a lead of some 5 seconds at one point. Then we had the caution after a car got stuck at Thunderhill, and he had to hold off immense pressure. But the Brit comes through and dominates again. I think that's, his 4th win of the year? Yes, it is. So he won at NOLA, he won at Road America twice, and now he's a winner here in Mid-Ohio. All of these courses new to him. He was laughing yesterday, saying he had 831 days without racing during the COVID period. But look at his crispness today. Excellent stuff by Raoul, and he well deserves it. And looking for that scholarship to go to Japan and become just like Alex Palou and so many others. Pato Award, going to Japan and making it into motor racing as a professional. Well done to him, and you can see TJ Motorsport very, very happy with that. TJ Speed Motorsport, I should say. Tim Neff, very impressed with him. That's his engineer as well. So really, really impressive. And he really likes working with the team. He says they're as motivated as he is to win. So, without further ado, I think John Fippin is going to be the man of the moment, as always, here at Mid-Ohio, to get a chat with our winner. Well done to Raoul Hyman of Great Britain, who wins the first race at Mid-Ohio. And my thanks to Alex Berg, alongside me, Jonathan Green. Well done then to Raoul Hyman, Tim Neff and the best of the team. Delighted with that effort, and well, they should be. That was an excellent performance under big pressure. Confirmation of the result then of race 1 from Mid-Ohio sees Raoul Hyman for TJ Speed Motorsports. And it's a 1-2-3. Look at that. Nick Persing taking second place. Jason Alder taking third. Ryan Yardley did a good job for the Crosslink Kiwi Motorsport team, finishing fourth. Dylan Tavella dropped to 6th. He too, a Crosslink Kiwi Motorsport man. And then Hayden Bowlsbey in 6th place. Mackenzie Clark recovered to 7th place, the Canadian for Future Star Racing, having gone off. Cooper Becklin in 8th. Marco Kacic in 9th position for Doran Kroll competition. And likewise, same team, Alex Kirby in 10th position. So let's take a look at some of the highlights of what was an interesting FR first race from Mid-Ohio. We got underway in the bright sunshine. Raoul Hyman holding off the pressure at first. One car going off, that was Ramanan in the 996, his first outing, it may be said. And likewise, Matt Clark got a bunch of grass stuck in the radiators, had to come in, and that pushed him right down. We had a good battle, though, between Jason Alder and Dylan Tavella. Nick Persing was behind for most of that, but then everything changed as the safety car came out. Hyman got a great start at the carousel to lead them away. Persing got an even better one, got ahead of Tavella, pushing Tavella wide a little bit at the keyhole, but Persing making good use of that overtake. And then some great overtaking here. Ryan Yardley involved also, putting him up to 4th place, Tavella dropping to 5th. But it was Raoul Hyman who took yet another victory here at Mid-Ohio. We'll take a short break here from Mid-Ohio. Stay with us as the Speed Tour continues.